In the small, bustling town of Willowbrook, there lived a charming little cat named Whiskers. Whiskers was no ordinary feline. She had sleek black fur that shone like polished onyx in the sunlight and a pair of emerald green eyes that seemed to see right through to your soul. Though she was adored by the townsfolk for her grace and playfulness, Whiskers often found herself yearning for adventure beyond the cobblestone streets and tidy gardens of the town. One crisp autumn morning, while the world was still wrapped in a blanket of mist, Whiskers perched on the stone wall near her favorite oak tree. As she gazed out toward the edge of town, her sharp eyes caught sight of something unusual. Beyond the rows of tidy cottages, hidden behind a tangle of wild ivy, was an old iron gate she had never noticed before. Her curiosity sparked, Whiskers leapt down from the wall and padded softly toward the gate. The metal bars were rusted, and the ivy clung tightly to its frame, as if trying to guard whatever lay beyond. With a determined nudge of her paw, Whiskers managed to squeeze through the gap. On the other side, she found herself in an overgrown pathway that seemed to lead into an abandoned garden. As she explored further, Whiskers was met with a breathtaking sight. Though the garden was wild and unkempt, it held a strange, enchanting beauty. Vines climbed ancient stone statues, and flowers of every color peeked out from patches of grass. In the center of the garden stood a grand fountain, its once crystal waters now replaced by moss and stillness. But what truly caught her attention was a faint sound, a soft, melodic hum that seemed to come from deep within the garden. Intrigued, Whiskers followed the sound, weaving through archways of ivy and stepping over crumbling bricks. The hum grew louder, and soon she found herself standing before a small wooden door embedded in a stone wall. The door was adorned with intricate carvings of flowers, moons, and stars. At its center was a small keyhole, but there was no key in sight. Whiskers' ears twitched as she heard a rustling behind her. Turning swiftly, she came face to face with an elderly hedgehog carrying a tiny lantern. "You shouldn't be here, little one," the hedgehog said in a soft, raspy voice. "This garden is full of secrets." "I'm not afraid of secrets," Whiskers replied, her green eyes shining with determination. "What lies beyond this door?" The hedgehog hesitated before answering. "It is said that beyond this door is the secret garden of eternal bloom, a place where the flowers never fade, and magic lingers in the air. But only those who prove their worth can enter. To find the key, you must complete 3 tasks." Whiskers' tail swished with excitement. "I'm ready." The first task: trust the wind. The hedgehog led Whiskers to a meadow on the edge of the garden. In the middle of the field stood a tall tree, its branches swaying gently in the breeze. At the top of the tree was a golden feather that glittered in the sunlight. "To retrieve the feather, you must trust the wind," the hedgehog explained. "It will guide you if you listen carefully." Whiskers climbed the tree swiftly, her agile paws finding steady footing. As she reached the thinner branches near the top, a gust of wind swayed the tree. Whiskers hesitated, her heart pounding. But then she closed her eyes and felt the rhythm of the breeze. With a leap of faith, she extended her paw and caught the feather just as it floated past. Returning to the ground, she presented the feather to the hedgehog, who smiled approvingly. "You've passed the first task. The second task: solve the riddle." The hedgehog then led Whiskers to a clearing where an ancient stone pedestal stood. On the pedestal rested a glowing orb. "To pass this task," the hedgehog said, "you must solve the riddle hidden within the orb." Whiskers placed her paw on the orb, and a voice echoed in her mind. "I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I?" Whiskers tilted her head, her mind racing. She thought of the breeze in the trees and the sound it carried. Then it came to her. "An echo," she exclaimed. The orb glowed brightly, and the hedgehog nodded. "Well done. The third task: show kindness." For the final task, the hedgehog led Whiskers to a small pond where a family of ducks was gathered. One of the ducklings had wandered too far and was struggling to climb back up the muddy bank. "This task requires no strength or wit," the hedgehog said. "Only a kind heart." Without hesitation, Whiskers padded over to the duckling and gently nudged it up the bank with her nose. The duckling quacked happily and waddled back to its family. The hedgehog's eyes twinkled with pride. "You have passed the final task. The secret garden of eternal bloom." As the sun dipped below the horizon, the hedgehog handed Whiskers a tiny golden key. "You have earned this," he said. Whiskers raced back to the carved wooden door and inserted the key into the lock. With a soft creak, the door swung open. Beyond it lay a garden unlike anything she had ever seen. Flowers of every imaginable hue glowed softly in the twilight, their petals shimmering like jewels. Butterflies with iridescent wings fluttered through the air, and a soft, magical melody filled the space. At the center of the garden stood a tree made entirely of crystal, its branches glittering like stars. As Whiskers stepped into the garden, she felt a warmth spread through her. She realized the true treasure wasn't just the beauty of the garden, it was the lessons she had learned along the way. The courage to trust, the wisdom to think, and the kindness to care for others. From that day forward, Whiskers became the guardian of the secret garden, ensuring its magic remained protected and sharing her story with all who would listen. Answer: Whiskers' legend lived on, our tale of bravery, kindness, and the magic that lies in a curious heart.